What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and it's been a while since we talked about old Blizzard. Now, as more people finally reach endgame in World of Warcraft Classic, and we saw some exciting new content rolling out for retail, things have kind of leveled off, whether it was the Classic hype or everything from BlizzCon. But yesterday, Blizzard rolled out a interesting program. Now, if you followed one of the most not talked about things that happened at BlizzCon, it was the prize pool that was community funded and misleading. Now, what had happened was Blizzard essentially said, hey, we're going to sell this thing and we're going to use that to fund a giant prize pool for World of Warcraft esports event that they had at BlizzCon. The problem was, the way it was worded, the community was under the impression that they had offered, by the way, a $500,000 minimum. That's an important part of this. So the community was under the impression that Blizzard was going to throw in at least $500K, plus you were going to get the sales of these items, which I think the ongoing prize pool by the community calculation ended up being 600-something thousand, if I'm remembering it right. Now, Blizzard, as far as I can tell, never made any official announcement clarifying this, but essentially, I'm guessing what happened was Blizzard just said, well, here's 500K. I don't know exactly what happened. There were people on the inside that said, no, we know for a fact Blizzard made 600-something thousand, and they're only rewarding 500,000. Nonetheless, as with anything in gaming, they simply had to just give it a few moments and it disappeared. Now Blizzard has added again with some more charity. Now, I admit, before Blizzard did this, before Blizzard did the whole Hong Kong thing, I had pre-ordered these two items for charity. Their original WoW server blades. 100% of that money went to charity, allegedly. But then I haven't received them yet, and Hong Kong happened, so now I don't know. I'm torn. I had wanted to proudly display them on my set after Christmas, but now I don't know anymore. But to today's situation, yesterday, quietly, Blizzard rolled out a mount. Both Dottie the mount, as well as you can purchase for 30 doll hairs the plush mount on their website. And it's only a 12-inch size. That's pretty expensive for a piece of plush. But nonetheless, look, not everything is for everybody, and that's okay. However, through December 31st, Blizzard will donate $10 from the purchase of each Dottie plush to be shared equally between Make-A-Wish Foundation and WE.org, less any chargebacks, refunds, or applicable taxes. Here's some really interesting stuff, though. People pointed out. So first of all, this is phase one of why people are pissed. But if you look at the video, it actually has... Look, whether you... How do you say it? I know people have their opinions on store mounts. I legitimately don't care. You can have all the store mounts you want. As long as people buy them, fine. They should still be earnable in game, but if people want to buy them, who cares? They're not, they're a literal cosmetic. But this video has 1.7 thousand downvotes compared to just 2.5 thousand upvotes. So I thought, what the heck's going on here? And you see most of these comments, nothing's really going on. But then I see one of the top comments says, why would you put a cap on charity? Well, I looked into it, and it looks like on their website, in the fine print, they say, donation amount for in-game pet excludes chargebacks, refunds, and VAT tax, and other similar taxes paid with a maximum donation of $3 million from all sales of the Dottie in-game pet and plushie for charity. Now, the in-game pet itself, I actually wish I had pulled this up before I'm not exactly sure what the in-game pet costs, but I'm thinking it's a couple of bucks. And then you have the $30 plushie, which they're donating $10 to. Their official reads here, when you purchase the in-game pet by December 31st, Blizzard Shop or in-game shop will donate 100% of the purchase price to be shared equally. So they get 100% of the $10 pet. Plus, they're getting $10 off the $30 pet. So they would have to sell three. Let's just take the plush out of this. All right. And I'm going to explain why people are pissed and why I understand it, but also why it's kind of a tough spot. First of all, no mount that I can find has done more than 3 million in sales currently. You had a cap of 3 million. So I have no idea why they put a cap on it at all. I think it's safe to say that one of two things is true. Obviously, it's going to be tax related, and maybe 3 million is the maximum that they can donate with benefit. See, the way write-offs work is, look, I have this channel. This stuff I bought behind me is a write-off, okay? People think a write-off is free money. Here's how it really works. If you made $100,000 and you spent $20,000 to do it, that $20K is presumably a write-off. What that does is reduce your taxable income to $80,000. It's not a free $20,000. I hear so many people like, oh, it's just a write-off. It's just a write-off. All you're really doing is reducing what you're taxed on. So it's not as if I'm going to make $100,000 and I just spend $100,000 on cool stuff I want. It doesn't work that way. You still have to pay for these items out of your company's earnings. But the top one I could find, I can't verify this, but I've seen this number listed several places, so I think it's reasonable. They've probably never hit over 2.5 million. With Mischief specifically, the highest amount they've ever gotten was 2.5 million. All other have been under 2 million. So unless the thing gets, more than any other amount put together, they're probably not likely to reach that $3 million cap. The highest, quote, 1 year later pet was Shadow, again from Legion, and did $1.8 million. So the likelihood of Blizzard doing $3 million in digital pet sales is almost none, right? If you take the $10 from this, let's say they sold, 100,000 plush, which would be almost impossible. That would mean a maximum charitable donation of $1 million from Dottie, the plush, and maybe, if you sold 200,000 Dottie mounts at $10, that would reach your max. Does that make sense? So it's $10 each for the plush, $10 each for each Dottie, maximum total of 3 million, which I'm sure is simply the maximum that they can donate. The problem people have is with the cap. Why would you cap it? And also with the wording. See, this says by December 31st. Does that mean they're going to remove this mount from the store on December 31st? That's a big question, right? If you're going to remove it on December 31st, okay. You had to pick this $3 million number, whatever. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people that like, rah, you should donate more. That said, this isn't exactly Blizzard donating money. This is their community donating money. So be very clear. This isn't Blizzard donating $3 million. This is their community raising $3 million and donating $3 million. Now, Blizzard does have the cost of creating the mount. Obviously, the $20 they're taking off this plushie is probably covering all their costs of development. So make no mistake about it, Blizzard is recouping their costs for producing these things. But again, this item will be shipped no later than December 11th, okay? Through December 31st, Blizzard will donate $10 from the purchase price of Dottie to be shared. At no point in here do they say that Dottie will only be available until December 31st. The exact same thing here with the mount. If we look at the store, I don't see anything here about the item expiring. So any sales they make after December 31st will not go to charity. Any money they generate beyond 3 million will not go to charity. And I also believe that the $20 per item cost of this, they're keeping some of that. I know that plush isn't exactly super cheap to make when you're running a small run of it. Maybe they printed 50,000 of these. But that plush didn't cost more than $10 per unit to make. So they're recouping some amount of money. The plush wasn't $20. So it's safe to say that Blizzard is recouping some of their money of the production costs through this plush sale. I don't know if they charge for shipping too, but I imagine they probably do. So they're not exactly losing it on shipping either. So people are mad because it's like, well, are you profiting off of this? Is really, at the end of the day, it's still a good thing. And you may decide to yourself that, hey, maybe we're not going to nitpick Blizzard for every little thing, and I respect that. But also, if you look at the totality of the situation when it comes to Blizzard and their crowdfunding, it's suspicious, right? We just had this big hullabaloo over the esports raising the prize money, which they've never answered about, and they've never been transparent from what I can tell in terms of what money was earned. And the other question is this mount going to be available after December 31st? And if so, then that's going to be pure profit. And some people would argue that then Blizzard is profiting off of charity. In fact, Blizzard is not really putting anything at risk other than designing a mount which costs them almost nothing, and I'm sure they'll recoup from the plush sales. And Blizzard is going to be able to reap this tax benefit, even though we're the ones that are giving them the money. At the end of the day, obviously, it's fine. Buy your little llama mount if you want. Buy your little plushie if you want. But I'm just explaining why people are suspicious of what is going on here with Blizzard. If Blizzard really wanted to look good, why don't they just donate $3 million? Why does it have to come from the community every time? And the question is, and I'm not an accountant, but what additional tax benefit is Blizzard getting off the backs of their own customers' donations? Let me pose you a hypothetical. Let's say Blizzard doesn't cap out at 3 million, which it doesn't matter because there's nothing ventured, nothing lost, especially with the digital good. But let's just say, hypothetically, Blizzard doesn't make any money beyond the 3 million. What financial benefit is Blizzard getting from being able to write this off? Maybe that number is 50,000. Maybe that number is 100,000, right? Maybe that number is 200,000. I don't know. When you're talking about a corporation this big and their taxes and their write-offs in the video game world, you're talking about billions of dollars. I don't know. But let's say they can attach some sort of cost to this and it's a loss leader and then they can write it off. Certainly, by the way, they're writing off the cost of all of the development of this mount. So make no mistake about that. I didn't even think about that earlier. They're writing off the cost it took to develop this mount. They're writing off the cost it took for them to make this video. They're writing off the cost it took to pay a social media manager to tweet about it. Now, at the end of the day, Blizzard is doing a good thing. It's just unfortunate that really the community is the one doing the good thing and Blizzard is quietly reaping the benefits. And if these things are for sale after the 31st, that's going to look really suspect. I'm curious what you have to think about it in the comment section down below. Is this just like, whatever, it's just a good thing, we're going to leave it be? Or is this just more corporate greed in the video game industry? I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.